Yo, what up, guys? Bit of a different video this week. We're gonna just talk shop a little bit, talk about how I got into this thing, and I'll answer some common questions that I get. Here we go. So first off, let me say that we're doing this because I honestly didn't have a lot of time in the shop this week. I didn't really build anything this week. I was kind of bouncing around some jobs and doing install stuff. I did do a couple little shop updates. We'll walk around after, but nothing video worthy, I guess. So these kind of videos we'll probably get here and there because running the business full time and trying to make build videos every week certainly have its challenges, but because sometimes I'm just not in the shop, sometimes I'm out installing, and these installs that I was doing this week was really like just little stuff, tying up loose ends on a few jobs and stuff like that. So it was nothing exciting. I will be doing some install videos. We have a kitchen coming up that we're actually starting. When we go to install that, I would like to make a video on that. So we'll get into all that stuff. But otherwise, I thought it would be cool to, since the channel's kind of new, to talk about how I got into this. Kind of a question I get a lot over on Instagram. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, make sure you head over there and follow me. It's at Northeast Woodworks. So I live in Oregon now, obviously. Another question I get a lot is, dude, you're Northeast Woodworks, you know you're in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, I know that, but I'm not from here. I'm actually from Connecticut. I moved out here, me and my wife and my kids, we moved out here in 2020, the summer of 2020, brought the business and everything with me. So I kept the name, thought about changing it, and then just decided to keep it because I like it. That's where the Northeast Woodworks comes from. But a little background about myself. So I grew up in Connecticut. In high school, I worked with my dad, and I worked with one of my uncles doing carpentry. You know, they did like renovations and remodels and stuff like that. I was always kind of in the trade, the carpentry trade, I guess. Didn't really like it. My dad was a framer. He was a good framer. And then like with my uncle, we did kind of a little bit of everything from framing, demo, sheetrock, trim work. I mean, we really did a lot of stuff. But like I said, I did not really like it. So I wasn't sure after high school what I wanted to do. I was also kind of a different person back then, made a lot of bad choices and got myself into some trouble. And yeah, glad that part of my life is over. So anyways, into my 20s, I kind of, like I said, was not making great choices, wasted a lot of years, had all different kinds of jobs. I worked at a Honda dealership, delivering parts for a while, and then I worked for a couple other builders here and there. And I just really did not know what I wanted to do. And then when I was 26, I got a job in a cabinet shop in Connecticut. And after like a week, I was like, dude, like this is sick. Like this is really, I think I really like this, you know? And like I said, I had some woodworking background doing carpentry and stuff, but I'd never worked in a shop. But it always kind of interested me. Grandpa, growing up, when I was young, he had a wood shop like set up in his basement, and he built like all like furniture in his house and all kinds of stuff. And I was always like, dude, like that's like incredible. My grandpa was like very talented guy. He was an artist too. He could sketch. I was always interested in that. I'm like, man, how did you make that? Like, that's crazy, you know? And then one of the builders I worked for, he had a small shop in at his house, like in his garage, and he did a couple small kitchens, and he would do built-ins and stuff. But I was always kind of in the field because we would do full renovation jobs and stuff. So I was always kind of in the field. But the couple of times I got to go to a shop and like work, I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. But then when I got that job when I was 26 in that cabinet shop, I kind of fell in love with it. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do. I worked there for almost 4 years, and it was great. My boss, I mean, he taught me he taught me so much. Like I just really tried to like take it all in. I knew I eventually I was wanted to go on my own because you can really only go so high in this trade working for somebody. I mean, I'm sure there are exceptions out there where guys are making tons of money, but yeah, and it was a really high end shop. We built some really crazy stuff in Fairfield County and for New York and stuff that went into New York City. So we got to build some really, really cool projects. And when I worked there, when I started, I was just a helper. We were ripping down material in the back to run through the molder for crown molding and just doing kind of that kind of work. And then slowly started to get into the cabinet side because they did all custom moldings and millwork, and then we did, all obviously custom cabinetry and everything. And so slowly I started to work for a couple other guys around the shop and kind of being their helpers. Yeah, after about a year, my boss kind of started to give me my own job. So he would basically give you the set of plans and kind of go over the details with you, and then you got to build it. They had a few helpers around, so like I would get a guy to help me, mill up material and catch at the planer or sand my doors or whatever. In the first couple of jobs, obviously my boss really like alongside me with it, really helped me get through it. And he gave me smaller stuff like little built-ins because we were doing full house packages with big, huge kitchens and vanities and built-ins and closets and everything. So he would give me kind of the smaller rooms, and I loved it. Like it was awesome. And they had like the best machinery too, Martin shapers and a 52-inch wide belt sander and Altendorf sliders and just I mean everything was incredible. So learning there was so good for me because I got to do every part of the process. From I had to make my own cut lists. Like he would give me the plans, I had to make my own lists. We would make the face frames, the doors, everything. We had one guy in the shop who made drawers. That was all he did. And so I would make the list of drawers and give it to him, and he would make all the drawers. And then we had a guy who painted, and most of the stuff there just went out primed. They weren't even doing a lot of finish spraying in the shop. And then like a lot of these big high-end custom jobs would get hand painted in the field, and the paint jobs these guys would do were incredible. So anyways, worked there for almost 4 years, and I learned so much. And I was always doing side jobs, not necessarily cabinetry stuff like trim jobs and stuff like that on the side because I didn't have a shop. And then when we bought our house, I started to acquire some tools and set up a shop in my garage. And then slowly starting to get, a couple little built-ins here and there. And then I finally got to a point, I can actually remember the day I got a job. It was like a really good job for me at the time. It was like a $10,000 job. And I was like, and I had some other things lined up too. And I knew that it was coming, and I was like, all right, this is it. Like, I just have to do it. I just have to like quit and just go for this thing. So yeah, so I did. I gave my boss my 2 weeks notice, and I still talk to him this day. Like if I have a question, I'll call him because he's like has a lot of knowledge about this craft, and he loves it too. Funny guy too. The little crazy all the guy, we called him Loco. So yeah, so I quit my job, went on my own, did that first job, that $10,000 job. I'm like, oh, this is sweet. And then, yeah, it was slow, it was tough, and then I landed my first kitchen, and it was in New York, in Westchester County, in Pelham, New York. It was a nice kitchen, inset. It was sweet, So did that. Definitely learned a lot going from working in a shop like that with sick layout and all the machines set up and dialed and everything perfect to being in your garage with like new equipment, obviously not as nice equipment as they had, and you're in a small space trying to figure it out. So that first kitchen was definitely a struggle, and spraying that thing, I had never really done a lot of spraying, and I sprayed the whole thing with lacquer. And it came out good, but there was definitely a lot of things that I learned from that whole experience. And then slowly from there, it just kind of growing, kept getting jobs, meeting new people. And then I'm kind of where I'm at today. And so we were in Connecticut, in business in Connecticut for 2 years. And then we moved here. So now we've been here for 3.5 years. So I've been in business here for 3.5 years. So total 5.5 years I've been in business. But the 2 years I was in Connecticut, it was good. I would say the first year was definitely tough, working like an insane amount of hours. And because my shop was in my garage, I any free second I had, like I was in there working. I did get like kind of burned out. I got tired. And then COVID happened. And I was actually when COVID happened, I was just coming to the tail end of a job, a big kitchen project. And me and my wife had always talked about moving. So we wanted to move to the mountains. And so we're going to actually go to Colorado. We're like, it's COVID, like COVID's going on. I just finished this job. Nobody's really doing any work right now. So it's a weird time. And we were like, let's just go visit somewhere and like see if we want to move there. We talked to my in-laws and they were like, yeah, we're down. So like we were going to go to Colorado. And then we actually booked flights. We were leaving in like a few days, and my father-in-law knew somebody in Bend, Oregon. And the guy was like, oh, you got to come out here, come and check it out. So we switched our flights, flew out here beginning of June 2020. And yeah, we were like, this place is sick. We stayed for like a week. We got an Airbnb and just like met a realtor, looked around, did the whole thing. And we were like, yeah, we got home, put our house on the market. And then in August, we were coming out here. So the first few months, we bought an RV and we kind of just traveled around and had some fun. And then I started to look for a shop space. Obviously, I brought all my equipment with me. We put it in a storage unit. And then I found the shop that I was in Bend that I just moved from to this shop. But so that space, I found that and I was like, oh, this is perfect. It was pretty cheap. It was like $1,000 a month, 1,400 square feet. So it was bigger than what I had in Connecticut, my 2-car garage. So I was pumped. Started trying to like make some contacts on Instagram, and I actually met my friend Nathan. He does custom tables and stuff like that. He does a lot of metal work. But so he's here in Bend, and he referred me to another guy who a builder called me. Yeah, this is one of the builders who I've been doing most of my work for. So it all kind of like, it just worked out. Like it was, I believe it was a God thing, right? It all just kind of worked, and I started to get work. The last 3.5 years, I've been busier here than I ever was in Connecticut. Started to do work kind of right away. And it's been awesome since then. I have worked with a few other builders and stuff like that, but being small, like I can only do so much, So I have one builder who's like my main guy. He's kind of always gets priority. He gives me most of my work, and then I do a lot of stuff with homeowners and a couple other builders here and there. Yeah, that's basically it. That's how we got to Oregon. I know there's a lot of stuff I probably left out, and if you guys have questions or something like that about my whole story, let me know. The move out here was kind of crazy. Just a lot, and a lot of our family from back east kind of thought we were nuts. I mean, whatever. We wanted to do something different, so we did, and I am very thankful that we did. I would never go back east. We absolutely love it out here. I started keeping one of these like little field notebooks recently, the last couple of weeks, and just like writing stuff down as I go throughout my day. Could be anything, stuff I got to do for work or just anything. And it's been super, super helpful. So what's going on with the channel? So the channel, I'm going to put out at least one video a week. I really want to do 2. So in the future, it is a lot though. On a good week, there will be 2. So, and most likely it would be something like this, some kind of shop talk video, and then a project video. It's a lot. It is a lot, especially with all the stuff I have going on, not so much to film, because I don't mind like setting up the tripod and while I'm working, but sitting at the computer and editing, like it takes time, but it's something I've always wanted to do. I've been on Instagram for a while. I mentioned before, if you guys aren't following me over there, give me a follow. at Northeast Woodworks. I'll leave it right here. And I've been following guys on YouTube, watching like woodworking YouTube videos for, I don't know, for 10 years, over 15 years. And it's come a long way. And I've always been like, man, I would love to do that. That's so cool, you know? And so now I'm finally like doing it. So anyways, we'll talk about the channel so far, the videos. Hopefully we'll get better. The filming and the audio and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about some of the comments I've gotten. So first of all, that scrap pile of wood, some people were really mad. I mentioned before that I threw out all that scrap plywood. I did not throw out the scrap hardwood. That's all still at the other shop. But I was trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, and you get a bunch of people who want, oh, can I get a piece for a cutting board or a couple pieces? And I like don't have time for that. So somebody reached out for me from one of the high schools in Bend. They have a wood shop, and so I'm just going to give it to them. So that's pretty cool. The wood shop students will get all that scrap wood and get to make whatever with it. So that's good. Hopefully that makes some of you happy. And then some other people are like, you just have too much money, but whatever. Like, this isn't everything I have. I'm not like a rich guy who just bought a bunch of tools to make stuff. Like, I actually this is a business. So it's been a lot of hard work for me to get all these things. Literally 10 years ago, I didn't have anything, right? We were struggling to pay our bills. But yeah, so I've worked hard to acquire all this stuff. So hopefully that answers that. So my plan for next week, a video on how I make my cabinet doors. I have a kitchen project that I need to get going, and the first thing I do always is make the doors. So we're going to do like a detailed video on how I make my cabinet doors. Making cabinet doors is something that I really like to do, and I've invested a lot in equipment to make them efficiently. I know a lot of guys order doors, and that's fine, right? I've done that in the past. I've ordered doors. That's something that I enjoy. I'm not trying to have 20 employees and be a big production shop. I'm just not. I am trying to be a one-man shop, maybe two, you know, if my brother-in-law comes back, or I try and hire somebody. No bigger than that. I want to enjoy what I do. It's stressful enough, like just this. And I want to, I enjoy making stuff. I like making the doors. So we'll do a detailed video on how I make them, whole process and all that. We're going to batch it out. I've got there's got to be, I don't know, 20, 30 doors or something on this kitchen. I'll show you how I make them. I crank them out, I think, pretty quick, and they come out really good. A couple other things I wanted to touch on. One of the questions I get a lot from people on Instagram is, how do I do what you're doing? Like, how do I get started in this and cabinet making and start my own business and all that? The best piece of advice I can give you is, because it's worked really good for me, is go get a job in a cabinet shop. Unless you already have a ton of experience and have a shop and whatever, but then you're probably not asking me that question. But a lot of the people that ask me maybe don't have a lot of experience and they want to learn. I'm not saying you can't learn from watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, because you can. I actually have friends on Instagram that are kind of self-taught and have learned from watching YouTube videos and all that, and have successful cabinet making business. So I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying that I think the fastest way to learn would be to go get a job in a local cabinet shop, because you are going to learn things that you might not learn on YouTube, and you're going to learn from people who have been doing it a really long time, and you're going to be able to work with some nice equipment, and you're also going to be able to work on projects that you're probably not going to be able to get get those kinds of clients on your own when you're just starting out, right? If you go to work at a shop, they're going to have nice jobs coming in for you to work on and to learn, you know? So that would be my piece of advice on that, would be to go find a local custom cabinet shop. They're all over the place, and try and get a job there. I worked at one, like I said, for almost 4 years, and then I went on my own. And it was awesome. Like I learned a ton. A lot of the ways that I do things are things that I learned there. Are they the best, fastest, way to do things. They might not be. Everybody does things differently. And when I show you guys videos of how I do things, I want to be clear that I'm not saying this is the best way to do it, right? This is just how I do it, right? We all have different business models and ways of doing things and way we just learned, and our brains work differently and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that you guys never take away from a video saying that this is the best way to do it. And I don't want the channel to come across like that. Oh, so my finish. So I've sprayed lacquer for years, right? And I'm just switching to this Gemini product. I've only sprayed a couple things with it. I've got some colors I've got to spray a little built-in I have. But I did do some tests with the colors, and then I did sprayed a bunch of clear. And let me tell you, this stuff I am super excited with it. It is, I thought it was going to be more of a learning curve than it was. I literally set up my pumps the same way as I did the lacquer, as I do with lacquer, because I talked to the rep and he's like, oh, you're going to have to adjust the pressure. It's a little different, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll start here because this is what I know, and then we'll adjust accordingly. And I mean, I didn't have to adjust anything. It was like spray super nice, lays down beautifully, dries quick, maybe a little longer than lacquer, but not much. I mean, you're talking half hour and I can sand it, and it doesn't smell. So that is the biggest thing, because the lacquer is great. It's a great product. It's actually really easy to work with, dries fast. It's just harsh. And even wearing a respirator, when you're spraying 50 doors and parts for a kitchen, it gets in, and it's like, I feel like it's affecting me, and I don't want to be breathing that stuff if I want to have a long career. So switching to this, it's a little more expensive too, but it's worth it. I'm very, very excited with it. So far, it's called Gemini. And the reason I'm using that is because that's what my local supplier carries. And when I asked him about it, he had nothing but good things to say about it. So I'm pretty stoked on that. And then the dust collection. Probably not going to do a video on the dust collection in here because I didn't like geek out on it. I don't know the CFM and all that stuff. What I do know is that I use 6-inch. In all my other shops that I've had, I've always just ran 4-inch pipe, and I just have the 3 horsepower single stage Grizzly, and I have a Maxewa one, dust collectors. And so I always just ran 4-inch, and with a lot of flex and stuff. And wow, the 6-inch hard lines going is so much more powerful. The dust collection works so much better. So I'm pretty stoked on that. I got some of the 220 volt boxes with the switch, so I have like just a little button, I can hit it and it turns on. So I'm pretty stoked with that. I think eventually I will upgrade to like a cyclone system, but I've always been like not wanting to spend a ton of money on dust collection because like it's dust collection, it's not that exciting. I'm like, I'd rather buy nicer machines, but I'm pretty good with machines now. So eventually I probably will upgrade to a cyclone system or something like that. But for now, I'm actually very, very happy with this. I've never taken the time to set up dust collection like this well. And honestly, it didn't even really take me that long. It all went together pretty easy. So there's that. And then the shop move videos. Hope you guys enjoyed those. There's more to come because I still need to do the miter saw station. That's kind of on hold for right now because I need to like make some money to get some projects done. I have cabinets over there that need to go in for my line boring machine and pocket hole machine. So those will be part of that shop move series. And when I get those done, obviously, I'll post the videos. The only thing I did do, and I'll do a little walk around the shop with you guys, I did put up a shelf over here above like my install tools, get some of this dust collection stuff, the extra stuff that I have up out of the way. And I'll probably do some more of these shelves kind of around somewhere else. But yeah, the shop move was... I'm very glad it's over, but it wasn't that bad. I still actually have the other shop. It's still a mess over there. I need to go and like clean it out, and so they can list it for rent. So that I'll probably be getting over there next week. But yeah, it's just a mess. There's just like scrap wood, and I got to do some dump runs and stuff like that. But for the most part, I did most of the I did the shop move by myself. I had my sons with me, and that was definitely helpful. But man, moving all that equipment on that trailer, that was stressful. It was stressful driving that thing, just because I was like worried about how I rigged it up and all that, and I'm just glad that's over. It's a big project to move all this stuff. But I gotta say, so after being actually like working in here the last couple of weeks, I haven't done any big projects yet. It's all been small stuff. Next week we start the kitchen, but it's been such a nicer space. Like just having it all open, the layout from machine to machine, and having the dust collection, and it's just much nicer to work in here. The wood floors, and then I'm 30 seconds from my house. So it's really been, I'm very, very happy so far in this space. We'll do a little shop walk around, and then that's really it. That's all I got. And like I said, I will plan on doing more types of videos like this. So if you guys have questions for me, stuff like that, leave them in the comments, and I'll try and answer a few of them every week when I do one of these. All right, so one of the things, another update I want to do in here is replace all these lights with LEDs, with the LED bulbs, and brighten it up a bit. So we'll get to that soon, but this is the shelf over here that I put up just to kind of get some of this extra stuff up and out of the way. Once I sell that joiner, which hopefully somebody will buy it soon, I'll kind of move these shelves over, and then I'm not sure what really I'll do over there. I did have somebody ask, what am I going to do with like smaller pieces of plywood, like offcuts, which they'll probably get stored over there. Miter saw station is going there, which obviously have not done yet. We'll probably do some kind of shelving like that up high, maybe over here, just to give me some extra storage and get some things out of the way. But other than that, there's not really any more changes in here. You guys have kind of seen it all. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have questions for me, leave them in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you next week with a big stack of doors, and I'll show you how to make them.